again. This is Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. I'm Miss Fleming, your instructor for this course. This is Unit 3, The Country Grows, Section 3, Lesson 5, Video 1, on Encroachment on Inuit and Innu. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, Indigenous populations faced further encroachment on their lands and resources, thanks to a growing European settler population. As Indigenous populations developed closer relationships with settlers, they were exposed to outside influences and their effects, such as the rise and fall of the fur trade, the Spanish flu, the First World War, and the Great Depression. First, let's talk about the Inuit. By the end of the 19th century, the Moravian mission stations in Labrador became an integral part of the lives of the Labrador Inuit. Inuit became dependent on mission stations for European dry goods, clothing, and ammunition. Missionaries also became dependent on Inuit to supply them with steady sources of cod and furs to sell in European markets to help fund their mission's operation costs. This left both groups vulnerable to the supply of natural resources and marketplace conditions. This led to the reduction of mission stations and assistance. By 1900, Moravian trade operations had accumulated a large amount of debt due to increased expenditures and the practice of advancing credit during hard times. To reduce costs, they began closing mission stations, such as the station at Rama in 1908. They began reducing the number of missionaries at different sites. An effect of this was more Inuit becoming chapel servants, taking on responsibilities within the churches, and making pastoral visits. This reduction also led to respected community members being elected as elders. Together with missionaries, they created watch committees or boards to intervene in politics and a range of disputes. Serious hardship occurred when a mission ship, the SS Harmony, unknowingly brought the Spanish flu to the Labrador coast in 1918. Every community was affected, and ultimately the communities of Okek and Hebron were decimated by the disease. The financial strain of World War I resulted in the end of credit practices and the leasing of Moravian trade business to the Hudson's Bay Company in 1926. The Hudson's Bay Company provided store managers, built new stores, and made other investments in communities which led to a new sense of hope. Credit advances were kept to a minimum and stopped during the Great Depression. The company encouraged families to spend their winter and spring living away from the community and to fur trap, and then fish along the coast in the summertime. When markets collapsed, Inuit families were left to fend for themselves as goods and services ceased. While the HBC did distribute some relief or welfare assistance for the Newfoundland government, these rations were minimal, and the health of the communities suffered. We're going to talk about the Innu as well. As the fur trade increased during the early 20th century, so did relations between Innu and European settlers. The HBC continued to open trading posts, including at Old Davis Inlet and Boise's Bay. This resulted in an increased reliance on European goods. When fur prices rose, competition increased between the Innu and Métis, of course the Southern Labrador Inuit, who believed that they had trapping rights in particular areas instead of sharing the land with the Innu. This drastically affected the caribou hunt. Before European contact and the fur trade, the Innu hunted caribou in groups. They constructed fences and corrals, drove the animals into the enclosures, and killed them with spears. After European relations, Innu hunters used guns and ammunition, thus making them reliant on trading posts. If fur was scarce, they could not afford ammunition and starved. The logging industry also affected caribou herds, as it disrupted the balance of the ecosystem. There was a dramatic decrease in the caribou population during the 1930s. Innu were faced with a decrease in their natural food source and became reliant on assistance from the government, the church or charitable organizations, or starved. Now it's time to continue to the next video. I ask you to take a break if you need one, and I thank you for listening.